now we move into the number 2 exercise. So in the number 2 exercise we continue with the shoulder width parallel posture. But this time we don't have a rotation of the waist. We're focusing more on this up and down movement, this loading and releasing. And we focus on the up and down movement with the loading and releasing by using a count. We have a count of 4, but the base only moves on the count of 2, 3, 4. So we count slowly to ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, and as we count 2, 3, 4 we have a smooth but continuous movement of the bass. So let's just try the bass on its own with the count of 4, and while you're doing this you can always put the fingers in the hips just to feel for the sitting. In this process, because we're not turning the waist, we can focus a lot more on just staying upright by sitting the hips and continuing to draw up from the crown of the head, allowing the back to hang like a string of pearls with the coccyx lightly tucked in, naturally, not pulling under using muscular tension. So, beginning with the count, we count 1 with no movement. On the count of 2 we begin to push into the floor. 3 we continue pushing into the floor, and by the time we count 4 we finish the movement. Again, in order to go down, we count 1 with no movement. On 2 we begin to move down. 3 we continue moving down. 4 we finish. So 1 no movement. 2 you begin to push up. 3 you continue pushing up. 4 you finish. 1 no movement. 2 you relax down. 3 you continue relaxing down. 4 you finish. So it's important that we realise that it's not 3 separate movements. So we're not going 2, 3, 4 or 2, 3, 4. It's simply the timing it takes to get from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. So we count 1 with no movement, 2 we push up, 3 we continue pushing up, 4 we finish, 1 no movement, 2 we relax down, 3 we continue relaxing down, and 4 we finish. So whether we're doing an up movement or a downward movement, it always begins from the feet. If we want to come up, we push down into the ground, as if burying the feet into the soft sand. And if we want to go down, we imagine the feet sinking, creating space for the knees, creating space for the hip joints. So again, we'll just do the base movement. Just try to get used to doing the counting. Do it quite slowly so that the movement is slow and gradual. And try to time your movement so it coordinates with the count. Don't worry if you come up and you haven't finished the counting, or go down and haven't finished the counting. Just finish the count and then begin the process in the other direction. So again, 1 with no movement, 2 we push up, 3 we continue pushing up, 4 we finish, 1 no movement, 2 we relax down, 3 we continue to relax down, 4 we finish. So 1 no movement, 2 you begin to push up, 3 you continue pushing up, 4 you finish, and then 1 no movement, 2 you relax down, 3 you continue relaxing down, and 4 you finish. So again, if I do the count, 1 no movement, 2 push up, 3 continue pushing up, 4 finish, 1 no movement, 2 relax down, 3 continue to relax down, 4 to finish. So when it comes to the arms in the number 2 exercise, these open and close on every count. So the arm movement is very similar to the number 1 exercise. The arms begin out at the sides, they come down beside the legs like the number 1 exercise. But because there's no rotation of the waist, both hands cross in front of the chest, and then both hands come back down beside the legs and back out to the sides. So we have a loose swinging of the arms, and again we try to allow the arms to loosen the shoulders, and we do this by making sure that the shoulders remain seated throughout the movement and that the arms remain long throughout the movement, so that we're not tucking in the arms in this way. If you're a more experienced student, you might like to try to connect the arms directly with your central axis so that we can feel that the arms open and close from within. So the analogy we use is moving like an umbrella. An umbrella opens from the inside, we don't pull from the outside, and it also closes from the inside, we don't push down from the outside. So we try to get a sense of the arms opening and closing from the centre by imagining that our shoulders are connected directly with the central axis or with our spine. Okay, so I'll talk us through the whole movement. I'll lead us through doing all of the count, the 1, 2, 3 and 4. Remember that the arms open and close on every count. Try to keep the arms going all the time. Even though we have a count, it doesn't mean that we stop at 1, 2, 3, 4. As with the bass, it's simply a marker in the movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whilst you're doing the movement, if you can, pay a little bit of attention to your torso. Try to make sure that you're relaxing as much as possible. Sometimes, again, with the concentration, we tend to hold our breath, tense up the chest or the belly, even the back muscles, shoulders. So if you find yourself putting more into the movement than you need to, just allow that to relax and let go as best you can. Okay, so when I continue with the movement, I begin the movement in a moment, I'll do the counting, then after a short while I'll fade out the count and you can go at your own pace, and then we'll finish by relaxing down again from the base, ready for the number 3 exercise. So beginning from the downward position where we finish with the number 1 exercise, sinking the feet, bending the knees and sitting in the hips. So the opening movement is the same as the number 1 exercise. We're going to push into the ground and open the arms. So as you push down with the feet, the body rises and the arms open. And then we'll begin with the first count, which is just the arms without the base. So number 1, relaxing the arms down, they cross in front of the chest. And then as we begin to let go down from the base, arms open up on the count of 2. They continue to move on 3, and we finish both base and arms on 4 as the arms open. And then again, just relaxing and closing the arms on 1, pushing down into the ground on 2, continue to push down on 3, and then finish the upward movement on 4 as the arms open. 1, just the arms, 2, base and arms, 3, base and arms, 4, you finish. 1, just the arms, 2, base and arms, 3, 4, you finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you do the count and go at your own pace. And then when you're ready to finish, when you reach the count of 4 in the downward process, just allow your arms to come down by your sides, so you're in the low position, and you're ready to do the number 3 exercise.